mission was to feed the hungry, energize our world, and stimulate the economy. It sounds like a pretty good company, right? But what if something goes wrong? Things take a turn for the worse, and the company loses sight of its original mission. Now, instead of feeding the poor, the company is more concerned with generating profits. But that's not all. Something else goes wrong. Instead of energizing our world, the seeds that the company manufactures cause malnutrition in plants, animals, and humans. And last but not least, instead of stimulating our economy, this company depletes local economies by competing with and beating out small farmers. Now, what if I told you that you support this company? You do. Each and every one of us in this room supports this company. Up until recently, I unknowingly supported them too. But if you buy products from Kellogg's, Aunt Jemima, Coca-Cola, Hershey's, Green Giant, the list goes on and on and on, then you are supporting Monsanto. But I genuinely hope that after listening to everything I've learned, you will join me today as one of millions against Monsanto. Now, the three most important things we need to learn about are, first off, the problems with this company, secondly, the things that we can do to solve it, and finally, the benefits to this solution. So if you'll start with me, I'd first like to talk about the problems with Monsanto. Monsanto produces genetically modified organisms, also known as GMOs, in an attempt to produce more crops and better crops for farmers. Now, in case this term is unfamiliar to you, let me put it into perspective. Think about this idea. Genetically altering a baby's genes before it's born in order to make it better, faster, stronger. That is precisely what Monsanto is doing to seeds before they grow into plants to make a better, faster, stronger product. But their sphere of influence does not end here. Like I mentioned in my introduction, Monsanto owns over 70 food-producing companies. And Mike Adams, editor for Natural News in 2012, tells us that brands that we might think are healthy may not actually be. He says that so-called health foods like Kashi, Larabar, and Silk, which produces soy and almond milk, all contain GMOs from Monsanto. So what about crops? Does Monsanto succeed in producing more crops? Well, Adams continues to tell us that over a 5-year span, organic crop fields actually produced more crops than did Monsanto fields. So, is that an issue for you? Because that's an issue for me. The fundamental basis on which Monsanto exists as a company is to produce more food, yet they fail to meet even that most basic goal of theirs. Now, if this isn't bad enough, in 2002, Altieri and Rossett, authors of Ethical Issues in Biotechnology, connect the dots, and they tell us that the real thrust behind the genetic engineering industry is not to create more productive agriculture, but to generate profits. And that's precisely what we're seeing here, is that the motives behind Monsanto are to produce profits. These same authors tell us that the world today produces more food per inhabitant than ever before. This makes the problem with hunger poverty and not a lack of food. So Monsanto would like for you to believe that they are this superhero coming in and saving the day and creating more food and feeding the hungry. But they are not doing either one of these things. Like you just learned, their fields are actually less productive than natural fields. And secondly, unless they're completely eradicating poverty, they are not solving the problem of hunger, like they would want you to believe. So now you know about some basic problems with Monsanto, let's continue to my second point, which was a solution. What can you and I do about this? The two most basic things that I want to talk about are, first off, mandating GMO labeling laws, which is not happening in the status quo. The second thing is to hit Monsanto where it hurts most, in their pocketbook. So right now, the 2013 Farm Bill, and most specifically the King Amendment, completely dismisses the cry from over 90% of Americans to have GMO labeling laws, which is a luxury that people in most other countries around the world already have. In March of this year, Garcia with California State Polytechnic Institute explains this, and he says that Monsanto, along with other companies who oppose labeling laws, have perfected the art of political contributions, and that's why the wishes of so many Americans have been pushed to the wayside thus far, but we can make a difference. Jose Vargas Hernandez, with the International Symposium of Invocation and Sustainability in 2013, tells us that we are among many. There's a global protest happening against Monsanto that extends beyond 40 different nations. So we are not alone, but our voices must be heard because there's power in numbers. So the next thing that I would like to introduce you to, the next concept, is to boycott Monsanto brands and hit Monsanto where it hurts financially, and they might actually start listening. So now that we know what you and I can do, what some of the solutions are, let's move to my last point, which is to talk about the benefits of our solution. Now, in 2014, Barnas, Sexton, and Zilberman, with the Journal of Economic Perspectives, tell us that the impacts of Monsanto are twofold. The first type of impacts that we're seeing are environmental. In 2011, Smith, with Arizona Advanced Medicine, emphasizes that GMOs from Monsanto cause 40 different types of crop diseases. Now, if you know anything about why GMOs exist to begin with, this is completely opposite of their mission. GMO's mission, like I stated, is to produce better, faster, stronger crops that are resistant to drought and flood and disease. Yet here we are, looking face to face with the hypocrisy of Monsanto once again. Not only are they not helping to control crop disease, they're actually pushing us in the opposite direction and causing 40 different types of disease. We cannot ignore this statistic. If that's not bad enough, the weed killer that Monsanto produces and sells to farmers, known as Roundup, the same authors from Arizona Advanced Medicine tell us that this type of weed killer grabs vital nutrients, interferes with photosynthesis, and annihilates beneficial soil organisms. So not only are the seeds that they produce diseased, but the weed killer does all of those things that I just mentioned. I don't know about you, but that does not sound like food that I want to be putting into my body. Now, the next type of impacts that we need to realize are human health impacts. Abid, Duda, and Baker in 2014 with the White Paper series, which is an international publication, tell us that GMOs cause some common toxic effects in our body, such as hepatic, pancreatic, renal, and reproductive issues within your body. In 2003, Stephen Nottingham, author of Eat Your Genes, How Genetically Modified Foods Are Entering Our Bodies, says that he's unsure if there's actually a clear link between GMOs and health risks. But studies done since then completely disagree. In 2012, Sean Poulter with the Daily Mail, which is a British publication, published a study done on lab rats who were fed genetically modified corn. What the molecular biologist who conducted the study found was that the rats had tumors up to half the size of their small body. And if they could cause that effect on rats, think about what it can do to us as well. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, this just seems like a lot of problems. Where are the benefits at? Well, let me tell you. As soon as we cut ties with Monsanto, we are thus helping solve the problem of crop disease. We are thus helping solve the problem of all of these human health issues and cancer from GMOs. So that's when we access the benefits, is when we completely cut ties to Monsanto through my solution that I mentioned earlier. So now that you know about all of these things, let's go ahead and review, just so you don't forget. First off, Monsanto claims they are helping us in so many ways. Not only are they not doing this, they are making this problem so much worse. I could go on and on for days about how hypocritical Monsanto is as a company. My mom's probably rolling her eyes somewhere across town like, make her stop, don't let her go on. Because it's true, I really could. The second thing that we need to realize is that we are the solution. You and I can make a difference. Third, the benefits that we have access to after we cut our ties are tremendous and cannot be ignored. Fourth, don't forget to take action. There are a few specific things that I'm going to ask you to do. First off, you can sign the petition Millions Against Monsanto, which is available online. Secondly, you can write to Congress about your disapproval of the 2013 Farm Bill and the King Amendment. Both of these things can be done in a matter of seconds at organicconsumers.org/Monsanto. You literally have no reason not to do this. And the next thing that you can do is to boycott one Monsanto brand. Like I said in my introduction, Monsanto owns over 70 food-producing companies. I'm only asking you to choose one. Now, unless you are indifferent to our environment, unless you are indifferent to animal health, and most importantly, unless you are indifferent to your own health, You have no choice but to join me right now as one of millions